Hey, welcome to video number 213 of Walker This Way with Hazel Walker, the queen of all things.
All things, B&I and networking.
I am Mark Simmons, and you're back in red.
I am back in red.
Another power color. How's it going there today?
It's quiet today. I've got a few errands to run, and mostly it's quiet. I'm actually, I got to tell you, in all honesty, what I'm working on is I did a mastermind of my 7 Steps program, and I am actually going to turn this into a book.
Oh, cool.
So working on that.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
So, I know this is going to shock you, Hazel.
Nothing shocks.
No, this will. I've been thinking lately.
Oh dear.
Right.
Doesn't shock me.
What have you been thinking about? I've actually put some thought into something, as crazy as that sounds. And so we're coming up on, we're at the end of January as we film this. We have February, but we're coming up to March. So in March of 2020 is when we and most of the world went into lockdown for COVID. So almost exactly 3 years ago. And when we look at BNI, we were fortunate to be where we were as members of BNI because that was our network, and BNI adapted really, really quickly to go from around the world meeting in person in chapters to 1 week off, and then we were all online.
Yeah.
The 9,600 chapters online in 1 week. So we continue with our network and business. And it was really a necessity at the time. We had to do it because the option was nothing. That was our option, was nothing.
It was right. It was blackout silence.
Right. So we were fortunate to have it, and going online was a necessity. 3 years later, it's now convenient to be online.
Okay,
we do a lot of stuff online.
A lot of stuff online, yeah.
Do a lot of meetings online. We're having
trainings. All of our trainings are online.
We're doing a lot online because it's really convenient.
Yeah.
And then what I see, if we go further, is for some, it's the convenience of it has led to some kind of complacency now. And they're running their lives different. They're unwilling to do some things because it's not convenient anymore for them.
Yeah, yeah.
And are the choices that they're making necessarily helping them grow their business and grow their networks and do those kinds of things?
Okay.
That's my question I pose to you, Hazel Walker.
Well, I think there is a lot of complacency in how we do it. It's a struggle everywhere. It's not just within BNI, but it's with business owners as a whole, and with employees. Well, employees have become complacent about what's happening around them and what they're doing. And even if I like having the face-to-face one-to-ones, but I also don't mind doing the online one-to-ones because then I only have to put on a shirt. I don't have to put on dress pants and boots, right?
Right. Yes, but you are wearing pants, so let's make that clear. Or something. Yes.
I am, but I don't have to do the whole suit and dress and go out and get into. And wintertime makes that even worse. The complacency is hands down worse in the winter because it's dark and it's cold and we don't want to go out. And it's just, yeah, it's a meh, right? But this, in the long run, in the long haul, you have to take a look about why you're doing what you're doing. And I think people have forgotten why they're in BNI, why they're doing what they're doing, because the idea behind it was you needed it to grow your business, right? You wanted referrals. You wanted all the benefits that referrals bring to you, but those referrals come to you at the cost of building good relationships. Right. And by becoming complacent, you're allowing those relationships to erode. When communication changes, the relationship changes. And this is key for people to understand. When you stop communicating with people on a regular basis, so you and I we talk every week. We get on here, we do about an hour's worth of conversation, we film a few videos, we do a wrap up, and then I talk to you again next week. So we have a habit, right?
Yeah.
If that changes and suddenly we don't talk for a couple months at a time and we move it out, what starts happening is in your head, you're making up stories about why it's changed, and I'm making up stories about why it's changed. And that relationship starts to do this. And we drift apart. And I've recently looked at a lot of relationships that I've had in my life that have drifted apart since COVID. And we've just drifted apart because we're not meeting and seeing and connecting and doing all of those things. And that's costing you business.
Right.
That costs business when you've allowed that from necessity to convenience to complacency. When the convenience drives you to the place of complacency, it's actually costing you. It'll cost relationships that are generating you the business.
Yeah, and we've seen it happen. We've seen it hurt some people's trust and credibility for certain reasons. You talk about the clothing thing, which is pretty interesting. It's we're half dressed on here. Well, we're fully dressed, but we're professional on the top. Who knows what's underneath? And that's what we're able to do here. But when you're standing in front of somebody dressed professionally, you actually show up different.
You're fully committed. You're fully
100%.
committed, right? And when here we're only we're only half committed right here.
Yeah.
Half committed to the relationship because the professionalism and all that. So yeah, you make a really good point.
Yeah.
That when you're face to face, you have to be fully committed to the listening and the conversation and fully engaged.
And because here also I could be like, yeah, I'm listening and I'm actually texting someone, down here.
Because I can look like I'm looking in the camera, but I'm actually looking at the bigger computer and I'm actually doing some work, but it looks like I'm looking here.
Yeah.
Right.
And when we're working on growing business, it involves listening to what the other person is saying.
Right. I need to be listening if I'm having like I'm in a relationship with lots of people who are not even in my chapter and I'm talking to them. I got to be able to hear. Are they complaining?
Yeah.
What's the complaint? Are they bragging about something? Are they planning something? Because this is how I'm going to generate referrals. So while it's okay to have your BNI meetings online, you need to be doing your power teams and your one-to-ones and things. You got to get some in-person time also. And you really got to make the effort. You really have to make the effort to listen to that back and forth. And you can do good one-to-ones on here. You really can.
Yeah.
Because I do good one-to-ones with members from British Columbia and I coach someone over in Europe online, and we do good work.
Right.
But it's because we're fully engaged.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's not happening. That's where the complacency comes in. We're not fully engaged. We're just complacent.
Yeah. I think that's where we're pointing here, is not saying you need to do everything in person. It's if it's good to do it. And if you can, or there's health reasons or whatever it is, this is great. Just be fully engaged in it.
Yeah, Mark, that's actually why we started the clubs.
Right.
The hiking club, the wine club, the dinner club, the book club, was so that we could come together and be really engaged in something, talking about a book or going to a wine tasting, to bring our members together across the franchise to engage with one another fully.
Yeah.
Versus being complacent.
Right. So this is good stuff. This is just something to think about. I'll tell you what I'm guilty of. I do a ton of one-to-one. I do one-to-ones with our team monthly. There's a lot of one-to-ones, and I'm always shocked when somebody says, "Well, can we meet in person?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, we can do that." That's right. Yeah, let's meet in person, because I'm just so used to this format.
I've had people go, "Can we schedule a Zoom call? I need to talk to you." I go, "How about you just call me? Just call me. We'll have a conversation." Because I'm engaged when I'm on the phone with you having a conversation. Just call me. I forget. And people are like, "Oh yeah, we could just talk." When
you think about it, you have to hold the phone. You can't text on your phone while you're talking, and you're probably not so great at texting with one hand on your computer. So it does make you more engaged.
Right. You are a little more engaged on this and in the conversation because you got to be listening.
Yeah.
Right. But people are surprised. They're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, phone call would work." So
I think probably a a good thing to do for us as individually is do a little self-check here on, are you engaged? How's it going for you? Do you notice that you're being distracted? What is it that you could do differently? Even that one small thing that you can do differently than you normally do, to really pay attention to the person on the screen, or look for the opportunities to stand face to face with somebody. Let's face it, all our businesses rely on our face being in front of someone else's. That's what they rely on all the time.
100% of the time. Yep.
Yeah. And you can do all the marketing in the world you want. The best thing is being in front of the person who's your potential customer or your network.
Or source of customers.
Right. And so figure out what your role is in that and how you're doing things, because there's always opportunity to take it to the next level and do things differently.
It's a self-check. You got to take time to do the self-check.
Yeah. All right. Don't be complacent. Build business. Go forth and multiply your business. Like that. Go forth and multiply your business. Until next time, Hazel Walker.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.